opening up the keyhole and just looking outside. I'm like, no.
So then you get into the whole industry of like adult film. Was it what you expected doing your first scene? So you had me doing moves off the top rope.
Oh my God.
I have implants.
I feel like I know of it somewhere. Why?
Why not?
I mean, I thought about it for a long while before I did it. I mean, I got a lot of uproar from the whole industry, but who are they to judge me?
Yeah, I mean, what are they?
They can all go to hell. They don't pay my bills.
No, you got a point.
And that's that.
Welcome. Happy Monday. And for those of you out there who you guys are virgins, some of you I know, welcome to your very first episode of Off the Rails with Jasmin St. Clair. And those of you joining the program who normally do, welcome back. It's nice to see everyone. Michael's a newbie. Hi, Scott. How are you? Hi, Paul. Buongiorno, Giuseppe. And hi, Jim. So this is obviously the Monday night version of Jasmin. So what did I do today? I went to the gym. I tanned. Hola, Ben, ¿cómo estás? Hi, John J. So it's a casual night, but something really caught my eyes today. Why the hell are people still obsessed with O.J. Simpson in 2025? I know that he just passed away, but can you believe there are people still rallying for his innocence after all these years? It's so wild. I mean, these are like flashbacks. It's like the OJ incident has been done and over with. Are we going to like bring up the Manson trial and maybe start, I don't know, cheering for them or, whatever, bringing up that just the whole incident? It's just weird. People are rallying for him to this day. Hey, Jamal, how are you? I have my own opinions about the OJ Simpson situation anyway. Not everyone, exactly. If the glove does not fit, you must acquit. I still say it was probably his son, because the son would share the same DNA as OJ, but also he had a tiff with the mom. Speaking of which, the Menendez brothers, my good friend Robert Rand wrote that book about the Menendez brothers. He consulted on a few of the different Menendez brothers series. Now, what people don't know, when people think, oh, well, maybe they were raped or something, what a lot of people do not know is in the actual crime scene photos, they took out like the parents' kneecaps. They shot both of the mother's eyeballs out. So when people really want to, think about their innocence, because that's now a hot topic these days, I don't think they were innocent. That's just unforgivable to do that to your parents. But moving right along, everyone's been asking about what happened to my Jasmin St. Clair show. I'm just pushing it to May because I've been so busy this month with this. And then WrestleCon is coming up next month. I'm leaving for Scotland next week to work for Bleeding Gums Wrestling. And then the end of the month for Juggalo Championship Wrestling. And make sure you're catching up with Juggalo Championship Wrestling online on YouTube on the JCW Lunacy page or Psychopathic Records. It's been some great feedback and some awesome episodes. I just debuted on episode 26 in Vegas, which was a lot of fun. And there's also a free JCW show midnight in Las Vegas at Neonopolis on the 19th, which is Saturday, the 19th of April. And there's a free show with Violent J afterwards, which is a lot of fun. Hey, Michael, how are you? Yes, Michael, I don't know if this if this really kicked it off the right way for you. I know that you're a newbie here. Hi, Hellstrom. How are you? So tonight's guest, I know there are a lot of people that are tourists, as I call them, in the OnlyFans temperature. And some girls stay, some girls don't. Some girls have fun stories. Some girls obviously don't. Like, we know who they are. They usually don't come on here. But however, Victoria Peaks used to be a school teacher. So we have a lot of girls that pretend they're teachers in these scenes, but this is actually, a real school teacher. I don't think her students know like what she's doing. Well, I don't know how old they are either. Let's look at some of the comments. John J, the girl that was cute, that was on JCW, the champion. Yes, that's Danny Morrison. She's been on here before, the blonde who wrestled in Nepal, India, in Nepal, and some really crazy height Paul Corbin, I'm glad you love the St. Clair Monster Corporation. The St. Clair Monster Corporation is the faction that I manage at Juggalo Championship Wrestling. These are monsters. That's what they call big guys. They're like 7 feet tall. They're just really huge people. And I guess it makes a very good aesthetic because I'm like 5'6", 5'7", and 100 pounds, or 104 when I'm fat. Yes, Michael, she was an actual guest of mine. April Hunter is one of my old friends in the business. Everyone loves April. April was one of my guests. Danny Morrison was a guest on here as well. Let's see. Of course they weren't innocent. Hellstrom, yes. If the glove does not fit, you must acquit. I love this. Okay, yeah. And that is true. Some stories never end. Jamal, thank you for being a loyal member. I always see you on here and on Instagram. So, yeah, I'm excited. And I started rewriting my one-woman show with Don Jameson. I don't know if people remember that metal show. Don was also a guest on my Crazy Train podcast, which drops every Wednesday. So make sure you do go to Spotify or iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe to Crazy Train podcast. That's Crazy with a K. That's the audio version. And then the video version is obviously on here. It drops every Friday. Yeah, so what can I say? It's been fun so far doing these, and having another show to add to the barrage of things that I'm doing really takes up time. So I'm better off just waiting to launch the show in May. Some of the guests I have, one of them is Lex Jurgen, who's an author. He wrote an amazing book, The 99 Rules of Remasculinizing Yourself for the Millennial Male. So it's how to remasculinize those of you who've been demasculinized by a fourth wave feminist specifically. We just had Tommy Gunn on the show, and his video interview is still up. His interview is really cool. And so many people claim that they have bad experiences in adult films, right? I didn't. He obviously didn't. And he's doing a documentary called Fans Only, where it humanizes a lot of the adult film performers. So a lot of the adult film performers, some of them just put these really dark, horrible stories out there that make no sense whatsoever. And some of them I think are just embellished. But if you have some serious emotional issues, maybe the business just isn't for you. I mean that. Have you followed that crazy? Hey, Nate, how are you? You sexy motherfucker. How are you? I'm great. Nate says he wants experience in adult film. So go contact Slava Siderman. Maybe he could book you. If you want gay porn, I don't know. I did play a joke on someone years ago, by the way, at the gym. It was at Gold's Gym in Venice. And there's this Austrian guy that was working out. I nicknamed him the Austrian ass banger. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. He had this motorcycle. And when I think of motorcycles, I think of Born to Be Wild by Stephen Wolf. Is that it? So it's this guy at the gym, Nathan. Hang on. So, and I didn't know this guy, but all of a sudden he came up to me. He's like, oh, I want to know how to get into porn. So with his didactic accent. So I gave him the phone number of a gay porn producer. Then he saw me at the gym 3 days later. Oh, that is not what I wanted. So I said, well, I thought that's what you wanted. And you could get nicknamed like the Austrian ass banger or something like that. But yes, there's Nathan on there who wants to break into porn. So I think your contact would be Slava Siderman, who's been a guest on here before and is a friend of the show, and everyone knows him. And he works with a lot of the girls. It is my Monday casual. Someone tell me what this Karen Reed trial is, please. I have no idea what the Karen Reed trial is. I haven't been following it. I guess I was caught up on some previous episodes of Mysteries of the Unsolved Mysteries, which is a great show, by the way. If you've not watched it, please make sure to tune in because I love Unsolved Mysteries. There's some really great cases on there. Hopefully, I bring back JD Horror onto the show. He has this podcast about unsolved crimes. I forgot the name of it, but I want to dig into one of those with him at some point sooner than later because he's the expert on that type of stuff. And that Buffalo Jim, Buffalo Gym in Vegas. That story is super fascinating. Let's see. So Hellstrom says, okay, the Karen Reed trial. She's being charged for murdering her cop boyfriend and says she was framed by other cops. Well, that's interesting because we think about cops framing people. I think it's a possibility. It really is. And people, I mean, cops do that type of shit. When they cannot make the case, they will make it for themselves if you're not going to help them. Who's Robert Stack, please? And Paul Corbin, I've been enjoying Fool Me Once by Harlan Coben. Okay, Harlan Coben is a genius. Everything he writes is amazing. He does not need a co-author. He does not need to co-author anything. The man is brilliant. So Fool Me Once is a great series by him. And I was so happy to see that right away Caught came out, which almost done watching. It's like 20 or 30 minutes left of that, but that's another really good one. Fool Me Once. What's the other one that just came out by Harlan Coben? Paul, help me out with this. Paul, what's the other one besides Fool Me Once? It was the one before Caught that was out like last month. And you never get like a Harlan Coben back to back. The original host. Okay, so right. There was an episode of Unsolved Mysteries behind the scenes, and they had Robert Stack on there. You know, they showed the whole behind the scenes, like how it was made. Okay, so Robert Stack, I guess he was a Hollywood personality. If someone could tell me, yes. So he was the voice. He had all the fog behind him. In one of these episodes, okay, so that specific episode when they talked about behind the scenes of Unsolved Mysteries, one of the producers said that they were hiring actors that were so close to the actual criminals that one of them got arrested at a coffee shop because someone thought that they were really looking for this poor guy. So they eventually had to give them cards, like little cards saying that this is who I am, blah, blah, blah. I'm working on the show Unsolved Mysteries. I'm the lookalike for so-and-so. And apparently one day they hired some authentic bank robbers, which I think was crazy. So they're really freaked out that these guys could portray bank robbers because they're recreating a scene. Oh, what do you do for a living? We're real bank robbers. Like, do you call the police at that point? Okay, yes. So let's see. Missing You by Harlan Coben. That was just on last month. That's amazing. I think it's great. One of the best Harlan Coben series. I don't know. Yeah, The Stranger was good. That's not the first one. That was the second one I saw. The first Harlan Coben I saw was Safe. It had Michael C. Hall in it from Dexter, and he was really a phenomenal. He took it out of the park on that one. But I feel as though I heard that Harlan Coben is now doing a collaboration with Reese Witherspoon. I mean, for me, he doesn't need someone like that. She was great in, what is it? She was good in Clueless. She was good in Legally Blonde. But I feel as though when you have these women writers out there, they're not that great. Just like women journalists. So in the miniseries Caught, it's about a woman journalist overstepping her boundaries and sloppy journalism. So I feel as though with women investigative journalists, and I'm not being sexist or whatever, they just overstep their boundaries because they're so busy trying to prove something and they could fuck up someone's life. Does anyone remember the UVA article in Rolling Stone magazine like 6 years ago? It was another female journalist, investigative journalist, who did this whole article on an alleged rape. She put the article out, accused a bunch of young guys of rape. They were suspended. A bunch of them couldn't go to school anywhere else. I mean, it was really horrific. She eventually got fired from Rolling Stone magazine because it turns out it was fake. So usually if there's a Ms. or a woman, like anything with a vagina attached to investigative journalists, I tend to not read it. I just won't do it. Let's see. I did not see Freeway with Kiefer Sutherland. You can put your email on here. Let's see. Yes. She was good in Focus. What was in Freeway? What was Freeway about? Like, someone tell me, was that about the freeway killer or something? The Golden State Freeway Killer? Everyone likes Dexter. We all know that. I'm not exactly bad, but I can be. So I see this blonde bouffant of hair popping up and down the screen. I believe my guest is here. Hang on a second. Freeway was Kiefer Sutherland. He was a killer in it, but was it the Freeway Killer, like the Golden State Freeway Killer? Was that what that show was about? We're just talking about TV shows, Victoria. Okay, great. So Victoria Peaks is here, and don't forget, she was an actual school teacher. She wasn't one of these dumb bitches that found a pair of huge glasses and wore them to look cool or like pretend to be smart, because she's actually smart. Okay. So whenever I see those photos on Instagram of girls with the big glasses, I think my last comment to one of them, she had a book. I said, can you even read, or are you just a whore that found a pair of glasses? For some reason, I was blocked. Anyway, let me bring on Miss Peaks, who's very pretty, very busty, very sexy, and of course, very smart, or we would not have her on here. And no, I have not seen Dexter Original Sin yet. I don't want to. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, look at those boobs. How are you?
And thanks. I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Good, thank you. Where are you from with an accent like that?
Well, born in Tennessee, raised in Kentucky. That's where it all came out.
Where in Tennessee? Gatlinburg?
Oh no, it's like right outside of Nashville. A small place called Dixon. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I've been to Tennessee before. My favorite place in Tennessee is Gatlinburg because it's like a whole amusement park.
Mm-hmm.
So
they have a couple. They have Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg right next to each other, and it's just an amazing time.
Yeah, I'm a freak when it comes to amusement parks. I love going to them. So I found out from your publicist that you were a teacher. What were you teaching?
Yes. I was a high school math teacher, so I taught Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Pre-Calc, and Calc.
Not to be rude, but are those your natural tits?
No, actually, they're not.
Okay, I was
They
gonna
look
ask.
very natural. I got them because I got them done like before I got into the industry, so they aren't like porn fake because they don't have that like big round. Like they are more like natural fake. So it's under the tissue instead of on top or the muscle. I don't know, but I got them done after my last child, so I was still teaching when I got them done.
Well, they look real. The guys actually agree
Thanks.
with me on that. I think they look real. I was going to say, because how could these guys pay attention to math and algebra? Do you think you really use algebra and calculus in real life? Because I did all of those classes, and I've never used calculus to this day.
Yes and no. And are you going to use like calculus? Are you going to use trigonometry? Are you going to use any of that in real life? Unless it's your specific job, no, you won't be. But what math does teach you and what you need in real life every day is problem solving skills. Because nobody knows how to do a math problem, but you have to have the skills to figure out how to do it. Except for algebra, you do need to know that in order to like balance your bank account and budget and things like that. You don't realize it, but you're always solving for X. It's like, okay, here's how much money I have. Here's how much money this costs. I want it. What am I going to do? That's your X. So you're really doing algebra every day. You just don't have it in equation form.
Thank God. I mean, after going through geometry, like ASA, angle, side, like all of those, it's like I sit here to this day, I still wonder, like, what would I have used geometry for unless I wanted to teach math? Why did you choose math to teach? Any subject, why math?
Well, I actually didn't go to school to be a teacher. I have 2 degrees, and neither one of them is in education. My teaching career just kind of fell in my lap. I was really good at it, so I soared with it. My first goal and my degree and all my first job and all that stuff was my math. I was a mathematician. I did mathematician work. So that was my first initial analogy. I was going to just do mathematician work. My main degree is mathematical sciences, and then I have a mass communication degree. So I could write mathematical and all that stuff. So that's where what I originally was planned to do. Then I had children and I wanted to be on the same substituting and
Substitute.
substituting, yes. So a substituting day by day turned into long-term sub, turned into full-time teaching, because I just was really, really good at it and they really wanted me. They helped me get my license and then I was teaching in no time. I taught high school math for 10 years.
Wow.
A whole decade. I hit tenure.
Well, wait, do you get anything when you have tenure? Do you get like any type of gifts or
Wait, I'm
salary
sorry, I
check?
didn't hear that. What was it?
Do you get anything specific when you have tenure? Because I thought they give you something when you have tenure.
Well, it's a job guarantee. So before your tenure, you have to renew your contract every year. And they don't have to renew that contract. And they don't have to give you a reason to not to renew that contract. If someone is tenure, then at that point, it's a lot harder to fire you, pretty much. It's like a guaranteed position. You're not going anywhere unless something dramatic happens.
Were you teaching in public school or private school?
Public school.
And when did you stop teaching?
I stopped teaching in 2021, I believe, was the year that I quit. I taught all through COVID shutdown. Whenever everybody was teaching online and all that stuff, I was still teaching then, yeah.
That must have been so challenging. I used to teach French to children of incarcerated parents, and these were young teenagers. They were so difficult, some of them. I just couldn't deal with them sometimes. It was horrible. I don't know how you dealt with kids at math because that's frustrating. Nathan has a question for you. He wants to know, how did you get into the triple X industry?
Well, it actually, after I quit teaching, I was looking for jobs back in like analysis, mathematician. I was even looking as much into like doing something with my mass communications degree, like in marketing or, something like that. I was just looking for another job because quit one, got to get another. And of course, right after COVID, nobody was hiring. There wasn't a position out there unless I don't know. I don't even think you could even like waitress at this point. Um, but I had no way of getting a job. So then I just sit down with my husband and he just asked me, he's like, well, what is one thing that you'd always wanted to do, but you never got a chance to do? Right now is the time to do it. Like you get to start clean slate. And then I was like, well, there is something. I always wanted to be in Playboy magazine. Always. Like when I was younger, I was a VIP, Playboy magazine, um, VIP subscriber. So they had them come into my house just for years like that. And it just got to a point where I'm like, I would love to pose in Playboy magazine. So I started doing a lot of photography modeling for Triple X, which turned into some clips, which turned into videos, which turned into, these pro amateurs, producers calling me and like, I'd love to have you on my set. And I'm like, well, okay. So that's how I got started.
That's interesting because I feel as though there'd be so many pro amateur agents out there, and every guy that wants to get his dick wet trying to be an pro amateur agent. Back in the day, we had this one agent named Reagan Center. He smelled like peanut butter wherever he walked. I don't know what he was eating to have that scent, but I felt so bad for the girls because he'd always have them do audition scenes or shoot scenes with them that obviously went to VHS somewhere. I don't even think they went to VHS. How did you differentiate who's serious and who's not serious?
That is a huge problem in the industry right now. Is there's with all these subscription sites and free online porn, anybody with a cell phone can now be a porn star. So it does make it very, very hard. So when someone first reaches out to me and is like, I want to shoot with you, I'm like, okay, well, where's your website? What's your, send me a link tree that has all your links to it. Where are you sending these? Where are you going to be selling it? Where are you putting it up for free and all this stuff? So that's one thing. And if they're like, well, I'm just building content because I want to start and I want to have content to start, then I'm like, well, give me references. Who have you worked with already? And so it kind of dwindles down. There's always a few things that are red flags. Another thing that I do that really signifies a difference is I don't do free content shares. So they're calling me up and saying, hey, let's shoot content share. And they have no references, no website. And I'm like, okay, well, if you have nothing to show, you got to pay me. I will not set up. I will not come to set. As long as you're tested right, you pay me my full rate, and everything is like legit. And if I don't know them and they don't have anything either, I always have someone tag along with me, whether it be someone that I'm traveling with or my husband. Most of the time it'd be my husband. I'm like, okay, well, my husband comes with me. Unless, I've shot with them before. There's a lot of questions and a lot of things that I force them to provide for me. And if they don't, then I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. And if they're like, well, I don't want to pay for it, well, then I'm sorry. I don't work for free. You pay your plumber, you pay your electrician, you're going to pay your porn star.
That's fair enough. I mean, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Have I ever paid my electrician? Actually, no, I haven't. No, I'm joking. They all got to get paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you actually been in the business?
I'm right at 3 years. I
Okay.
started the end of 2001. And I know it's like 4 now. I mean, I just started with like an OnlyFans, posting my photos and stuff, but it wasn't until like 2022 that I really started shooting videos, outside of just like my private life shooting videos. So about 2022. So I would say that I'm in my 3rd year of the industry.
Do you shoot scenes with your husband?
Sometimes, rarely, I will shoot with my husband. He prefers to be behind the camera, and I'm the one in front of it. If he's needed, he doesn't mind to come in and help out and be a stunt cock or whatever. He's definitely doesn't mind to be in front of camera if I need him, but most of the time, no, he doesn't. Come on set to film with me. It's usually just me.
Do you think you'd ever go back to teaching?
No,
Okay,
never.
that was yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, it was one of the things when I quit. When I quit teaching, I told them, as I'm cleaning out my classroom, porn was never an idea. I didn't have like an OnlyFans out there. I didn't have a leaky video. I never even thought in a million years that I'd be in the industry or a porn star when I quit my job teaching. And when I'm cleaning out my classroom, I'm literally like, I will never step foot in a classroom again. It will never happen. I will live in a box before I become a teacher again. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's okay. We don't want you living in a box anytime soon. Uh, yeah. So you live in Kentucky now, is that correct?
No, I live in Virginia now. I'm a Virginian.
Do
Mm-hmm.
people know what you do? Has anyone ever recognized you?
Oh yeah, everybody in my town knows. My whole family knows. I made sure I made a trip just to Kentucky to tell my mom and dad before they found out, like, oh, do you know what your daughter does? Well, now they do. I told them because I felt like it was more out of respect. They needed to hear it from me instead of like a leaky video out there. My kids know. Of course, my husband knows.
Mhm.
I was a big, I taught in the community that I live in. I also coached. I coached several sports. My husband coaches several sports in the community, still coaches in the community. And everybody knows what I do. I mean, do I have them talking behind my back, calling me every name in the book? Yeah, probably. But, I had that when I was teaching too. So porn doesn't make that any different. Because people are people, they're going to talk to you behind your back. I just gave them a reason to talk about me. But nobody has had any negativity coming toward me. The biggest thing is once they know that you shoot porn for a living, they feel like it's an open invitation to fuck me. And they're like, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm like, "Hey, you've never spoken to me like ever, and now you're like messaging me on the Facebook." No. Um, so it's a lot of the men that have wives will message me like secretly, "Hey, you want to hang out? You want to meet up for lunch?" I know what that means. I'm not stupid. No, I don't want to fuck you. Unless you're a producer paying me. I don't. If you want to get started in the business, we can talk. But no.
Yeah, I could only imagine. I feel as though if you tell people around you what's going on, then you're not empowering some dick face to say anything, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the
I mean,
very smart thing to do.
that's one thing. I am not like, I could not hide anything in my entire life. I couldn't lie about it. I couldn't hide it. Like, I would be like the worst cheater ever because I just I couldn't hide anything. So when, it comes out and one person asks about it, then I'm like, sure, I do that. And then it goes to the next person. And then, I mean, I do live in a smaller town, so it's not very hard, especially being, the teacher that just quit is now shooting porn. Um, it was very easy for the students to find me and tell their parents, and the parents are talking to each other. And I'm like, yeah, why? What's the problem? No, okay. And, I'm very free with it, and it doesn't give them a chance to be negative and nasty about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not exactly going there doing porn in front of them. I mean, for fuck's sake, at some of these schools, you have half naked men roaming around with wigs and makeup on. So I think you're the safer of the two. Hellstrom wants to know, how does Victoria feel about the teachers' union? I'm glad they're getting defunded.
I honestly couldn't comment on what's going on with the teacher union because when I taught, I don't know if I was part of a teacher union, but I taught in a very small town that we never even mentioned a teachers union. I don't even know if I'm part of one when I was teaching, to be honest with you. And when it comes to the teachers unions, I mean, I don't know what they're fighting for, what they're going to be funded for, or whatever. But I can tell you right now that the United States education system is fucked. It is
Oh, yeah.
absolutely terrible. Is it the teacher's fault? No, I think it is the regulations of the government that makes it so terrible. But I can tell you right now, we are the laughing stock of the world. Other countries put their teachers on pedestals like we put doctors and lawyers on pedestals. It takes 7 years of education and other 7 to 10 years of education to become a teacher in other countries. And in America, you don't even need a college degree to become a teacher. They have back doors all the time now to get a teacher license. As long as you have a GED and you can go like through what we call like I forgot what it's called, but it's like a temporary teacher's license where you have to take maybe a couple of classes online and then you get a teacher's license. So, I mean, like anybody can really become a teacher at this point because they're so desperate for teachers and then they don't even want to pay their teachers. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that I don't agree with our education system, from the teachers to what is being taught. But the teachers themselves, you have some amazing teachers that teach because they really feel it in their heart. They're not getting paid, they have second jobs. And the whole like, oh, teachers get paid through the summer is a lie. We only have 10-month contracts. We are just smart enough to say, okay, take a little bit out of the 10 months so I can get a small percentage in those 2 months that I don't get paid. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that people really don't know about when it comes to teaching. I could go on and on about it.
No, I mean, this is interesting because it's a very hot topic with me when I discuss that. Growing up, I was skipped twice in school, but it was a higher form of education than a higher standard. We had standards and you had to take an SAT class. Well, I took an SAT class because I wanted to get, I know the highest was 1600. I came out with like a 14 something my second time around, which to me is mediocre. But whole point being is, yeah, you should have to take an SAT class. It's discipline.
Yep.
And I
Mm-hmm.
graduated from Columbia University. I mean, the shit that goes on the campuses, are teachers and professors now activists that they're doing this? And now these diplomas aren't worth as much. Now anyone could get in from off the damn street. It just lowered it and made it so
Mm-hmm.
much less spectacular than what it was. And when you pay that type of money to go to an Ivy League, you're paying for a reputation.
Yep.
I was thinking, like, is this a class action lawsuit? And a lot of these teachers with these younger kids, this is when you start molding their minds to become something like whoever they're going to be in life, and just
Mm-hmm.
teaching them to be lazy. And yeah,
Yep.
I mean, you see these kids coming to school with pajama pants and flip
Oh, yeah.
flops. I mean, what is this? That's like, did you see any of that while you were teaching?
Yes, oh, absolutely, I saw it. And, it's this, and it wasn't necessarily started by the No Child Left Behind, but I mean, in some of your, in elementary school, they didn't really make like A's and B's yet. It's more like a, yes, they're exemplary or they're proficient, things like that. But once you hit middle school and you're making A's and B's, like there is a lot of counties that if you don't do anything, you still make a 50. No, nothing. The number for nothing is 0. Like, it's just the way it is. And a lot of these kids are getting coddled. Oh, you didn't pass this and this, but we're still going to move you up because we have to. And it's very, very crippling to a point where these kids aren't held accountable. So they know I don't have to do my schoolwork and I'm still going to pass. So guess what happens when they leave public school and then they go into college? College doesn't care. They're going to fail you because they get paid either way. And so they're not used to being they're not used to having consequences for their actions. And in the school systems, they're not getting consequences for their actions either. And that's why there's a lot more problems. In the classroom, nowadays in a public school, a teacher does more classroom management than they do teaching material that needs to be learned. Classroom management, because education system is now glorified babysitters. Their parents need to go to work and make money and pay their taxes while the kids need to be somewhere. Well, that's why kids are starting school at like 7 o'clock in the morning now and are at school until about 4. Why? Because parents got to get to work, and then when they get off, then they can be with their parents. And that's why a majority of our school system, if you do the science behind a child's, well, how much they retain in a class, how much they're going to pay attention, about 20 minutes. How much do they actually retain? Anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. And this is at the high school level, but yet they're in class for 90 minutes. Why?
90
You know,
minutes?
90 minutes. If they're in a block scheduling, if they're in a period scheduling, they're in there for, an hour, 50 minutes. And then, but they're, always bouncing around. And then these kids, the school systems or the schools are so overcrowded and there are too much trouble going on that instead of having, like, when I was growing up, I had 10 minutes between every single class and a full hour of lunch. No, you don't get that anymore. You get like 3 minutes, maybe 5 if you're at a good school between each class. And then your lunch is maybe 20 minutes. That's to get through the line to eat and get back to your next class.
Yeah,
So they have less time to be kids too.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, where do you actually have time? But, so many of these classes are online. So I feel as though that whole human connection and physical time with one another is no longer there. Like flying planes, like little mini planes together, or maybe drones, playing
Mm-hmm.
tic tac or whatever these kids play, Monopoly, chess. That's
Fortnite.
gone. And that's all
They're not.
video games. I
Mm-hmm.
don't even really do video games. I do and I don't, but I just couldn't see like to be a kid today would be so
Yeah.
tough.
I always tell my kid, I have 3 kids, and all 3 of them's in public school system. I tell my kids all the time, you would never survive when I was a kid. You would never, ever be able to handle living the way I lived when I was a kid. But then I really look at them and the way they live and the way society is with social media and cell phones and this and that. I'm like, I could never live as a kid today. So it goes both ways. Like my kids could never survive if they didn't have a cell phone to distract them. But if you turn around and sorry, I'm in my car right now.
To answer.
Um, but then you turn around and do that reverse, like looking at them, and now it's like, um, I couldn't live today like you couldn't live then. That's where it goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel as though they're just coddling them too much today. And, same thing with adult films. I think that
Mhm.
so much of it, like you have people like I have had Vic Legina on the show quite a few times. And I don't know if you've worked for him, but he was a director. And I mean, just the stuff they're going through and all these things. Like you're on a fucking porn set, man. Like,
Yeah.
what do you expect? We're gonna sit here and hold your goddamn hand and give you like Peeps or like Cadbury Easter eggs or something and tell you bunny stories? It's not like that. I don't think they understand that. What was your experience with Exotica? I mean, you're in a whole new world from teaching to all of a sudden being around porn stars and fans. What was your
It's
experience?
it's very surreal, because I still have a very vanilla life outside of porn because I am a mother of three. Coaching is still an everyday thing in my house. So I have mastered being on a porn set, leaving, going straight to the little league field and watching a ball game, or going straight to like the football field and watching, football players, or having my cheerleaders cheer on the sideline, from one to the other. So it's a huge switch to switch on and off. You have to have the mindset and the mind capability to do it. Going to school in the classroom every day and the stress of having all your papers together, having all your worksheets together, having to be there on time so the kids come in until the kids come out. It's very structured and stressful. But then you turn around and you see something like Exotica. I have to be at my booth at a certain time. I have to make sure that I have all my pictures printed. I have to make sure that my banner is right. So it's very, very similar to that. But instead of, in the classroom, I'm coddling children. At Exotica, I'm coddling fans. And it's not necessarily coddling in the same way. At Exotica, I have to make sure that I give them my time, but I also have a line of people that I'm trying to see, you know. But when it comes to the classroom, I'm working with one person, but yet I have 10 other people that I have to, work with in the class, like on that problem or something. So it is, there's a lot of similarities to it. It's just the mindset and my, Victoria Peaks, that's who I am inside and outside of, the porn industry. So I don't have to change my personality. I'm the same person whether I'm on set or, not at the grocery store. So to me, it's a lot easier, and it's kind of similar of the way you look at it, but I don't know how to really answer that.
Yeah, I mean, there are some similarities for sure between education and that. I totally get it. And it is a big thing because people don't realize like you have to get up, get dressed, put yourself together,
Mm-hmm.
and then take it from there and just see where the day goes. And when you have a line of people, it's exhausting. Like you are talking to
Mm-hmm.
everyone. Back when we had CES, like when it was at its heyday, it would be like a
Mm-hmm.
huge line. Then it's these parties. I didn't always go to the parties. I mean, I wasn't very friendly back then. I'm still not very friendly. I wasn't one of those people that wants to go party with porn stars. That sounds real great. Um, it sounds so interesting, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's try to construct some sentences here, people. I mean, how do you? Some of these girls, man. Anyway, I'm sorry. Okay. So Paul has a question. Any memorable fan encounters or great fan stories?
Yes, I have great fan stories. I absolutely love my fans. I love meeting them. Probably one of my favorite fan experiences is I'm at the airport. And then I have this guy pretty much come to me and they're like, "Are you Victoria?" And so it's kind of, they always hesitate to ask if you are who you are. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Victoria." And he's like, "Oh my God." He goes, "You're my hall pass." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "Me and my wife watch you all the time." And I'm like, that really touches me because I'm like, I love that this man and this woman are being able to have sex and make love and still be together because of me. I like, well, not only because of me, but they use me to keep things, hot and spicy in the bedroom, which was awesome. But I was like, "Oh really? That's awesome." He goes, "Can I," usually people's like, "Can I take a picture with you or can I have your autograph?" He's like, "Can I FaceTime my wife so she believes me?" So the whole time he's meeting me, he's the only thing he's thinking about is his wife. I just thought it was so amazing to me. So he FaceTimed his wife. I'm sitting here talking to her. We actually end up being on the same plane. So our layover is exactly the same. So we're sitting there talking, and I sign. It was a airport napkin for them. If I had a photo available, I would have signed it for them, but I didn't. And then so it wasn't like I didn't go and like fuck him because I was his hall pass, but just the fact that he met me and he got the autograph and everything. So we get on the airplane. He's sitting right next to me. He's sitting in this seat right next to me. So at this point, I'm on this plane with this guy, and his wife is, absolutely adores me. And he talked to me the whole time. Never did was he weird? Never did he say anything like, "Oh, I just want to fuck you so bad," or, he talked. He actually asked questions like, "Oh, where are you from? How are you? Did you really teach, or is that an act?" Like, he was literally having a civil conversation with me, and he bought me drinks the whole
Okay.
plane ride.
Question. Well,
He's
wait, how
like,
long?
I don't remember exactly. I know it wasn't one of my longer ones from like East Coast to West Coast, but it had to have been at least 2.5 hours. But he bought me drinks the whole time, and then we took a selfie, and we actually took when we were FaceTiming where it had his wife in the picture also, and we screenshotted that. So and it was really really sweet. That's probably my most memorable fan moments outside of like Exotica, that I'm actually there to meet fans. It was exciting because the reason why I shoot porn, I got to see it right there firsthand between him and his wife. Mm-hmm.
That's actually a sweet story, but the whole thing of
Mm-hmm.
sitting, like, the last thing I want to do on the plane is talk with someone. I usually sit in a window seat. I'm on my own world. The only reason I'll speak to you is if I need help with my suitcase, which I usually do, because it's always heavy.
Yeah.
So Michael wants to know, how tall are you and how big are your breasts?
I am a 36 triple D.
Woo.
I am a triple D, so they're much bigger than what I thought they would be, but I absolutely love them. And what was the other question?
How tall are
Oh, how
you?
tall am I? I'm only 5'4", so I'm not too short, but I'm not tall either.
So wait a second. How many cc's do you have in your boobs?
I have no idea. um, there's not. I mean, it's not huge amount. I don't really know. I didn't ask that question because it wasn't something. It wasn't a big deal to me. When I went in, I'm just like, I want a solid, C. And then he was like, the doctor was talking to me. He's like, "Are you sure?" Because I kept talking how much I wanted them bigger. And I kept comparing, like, I want my breasts to be as big as they were when I was breastfeeding because they got really big and full. And then afterwards and everything was healed up, and he's like, "Are you glad that I didn't give you those C's?" And I was like, "I love how big they are."
See,
So
that's
yeah.
so funny because I had 36 double B's before. Okay. Then I had them removed like 7 years ago or 6 years ago. I'm a 36C now. Guess what I'm doing later
Mm-hmm.
this year?
What,
I'm
are you going back?
Yes, not to double D's, but just to D cups. So I'm going to my friend's husband in Florida, and I heard about this thing called a mesh bra. Do you have a mesh bra on the inside?
I don't know what that is. Like inside my boobs?
Yeah, I guess it's some form of like collagen and something else, but it's just like an internal bra that they put in. I thought maybe because yours look natural, so I thought maybe um,
Mhm.
that's what you had. So yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to 36D. Whoop whoop. So I'm totally stoked. I can't
Mhm.
wait. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
means
love
more
my boobs. That
clothes,
is.
right? Got more clothes. Huh?
I get a lot of compliments on my boobs to a point like people will really fight with me about my boobs being fake versus real. They're like they're totally real. I'm like no, they're fake. I got them while I was teaching. Like and it was just they really do look real. My surgeon did an absolute amazing job on my tits. He did exactly what I wanted even though I didn't tell him. I told him what I thought I wanted, and he gave me what I really wanted. And it just they work out perfectly. I love them. I never wear bras anymore, which is another great thing, unless I'm working out, of course. But I love everything about my breasts. How they dangle. I mean, they're not like all perky and don't move. They still have that natural teardrop, but they're not like saggy and they're still big and yeah. I play with them all the time. I'm literally like, I'm always like this.
I don't think anyone's complaining. Seriously, John Jay says, "Oh, teardrops through the arms, please." Okay. Well, let's see. I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
What?
I just have my thing is like under, so I don't know what they're going to do because I'm small already, like a small person. So I have no idea how he's going to stuff like 450 cc's into me, into that pocket. So it'll be interesting to see. But people, the breast tissue and just your breast stretch with time. So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I thank you. Yeah, everyone's saying don't do it. I want to do it. Like I made this bet with myself in November of 2024, and some people who are on my Facebook know what that bet was, and I won the bet, so I'm getting them. Uh, so with OnlyFans, how many hours do you feel as though you spend on that? Because I get so many different answers from girls.
Um, well, when it comes to OnlyFans or all paid sites.
Okay, let's do
So,
all these sites.
because all my subscription sites are, I just kind of simultaneously do at the same time. Because I don't have the same person on my loyal fans, on my Fansly, and on my OnlyFans. They tend to pick one platform and they stick with it. So I'm on like all of them, of course. So when I'm releasing a clip or a photo or something, I'm going through all of them and I'm uploading it to all of them. And then I have like the apps on my phone to where if somebody messages, I'm constantly being able to like message back, but on average, daily, I mean, at least a couple hours a day, I'm on there. But I'm always sending a message here and there. Like I might spend 10 or 15 minutes just messaging back and forth to one person on there. But the next day, I might spend like 30 minutes talking to one person. And it differs between that. But actually, just kind of like launching stuff. I'm not very good with like sitting down and spending all day on the OnlyFans and just kind of planning this post and planning that post and like scheduling my whole month ahead of time. I never done that ever in my whole career yet. So it's just kind of like, oh, let's go post on OnlyFans today and let's do a cutie. Let's do, a little clip or something. It's never like, oh, here's a bunch of content that I shot in one day and I spent the next day just kind of scheduling it out throughout the month or the week or whatever. I don't do it that way. I'm just kind of, and then there's some days I'm really busy and I'm like, oh, I've not posted nothing today. Let me, tip pick. So, oops.
And I would imagine one of your highest requested content would be school teacher content. Yeah, maybe.
I don't get a lot of school teacher content requests.
Really?
I don't know
Okay.
why. I do have some fans that like to do like teacher, student, or like I want to, you're gonna spank me in the classroom kind of sexy talk. I get that a lot, but when it comes to like customs, I've never had someone request a teacher custom. Never.
That's so
I
hard to
shoot
believe.
teacher. Yeah, I shoot teacher content for my own, like I just as my scenes and stuff like that, but I've never been asked to do like a custom.
Got it. I would imagine that would be super um, popular. Michael says school's in session. I'm sure it is. Uh, there's one. So there was a guest I had who reads Shakespeare in lingerie every Friday on her OnlyFans. Do you do any
Mm.
type of mathematical themed special live streams at all? I'm just curious.
Not teacher theme or mathematical theme. I have actually thought about doing like math lessons, like us opening up a YouTube channel and doing math
Yeah.
lessons and being like dressed real sexy, but teaching an actual math lesson. But I've not necessarily started that yet. But on my I call it OnlyFans, but all of my subscription sites, I used to have a live that I did every Wednesday night, and it was just like a wind down with Victoria, wind down Wednesday. And the more, like, the longer I would do a weekly live, it's like the less people that I would have come and interact. So I stopped doing lives because and I actually would put out polls on my subscription sites, and I'm like, hey, would you rather have me post a clip every Wednesday of me masturbating, or go live and you can masturbate with me live? And they're all like, it doesn't matter, or just post the clip. So maybe if I did a themed, but when I went live weekly, it wasn't something that brought people in. I don't know why. It just didn't work for me like it does for some people. I loved going live. I loved interacting with my fans on a weekly basis, but I just got to a point where I would start a live and I would have nobody there. Not even a single
Oh,
person show up. And I'm literally like, all of these subscribers and I have zero people to show up. How is this even possible? To a point where I'm like calling my OnlyFans and I was like, is there something wrong? Are they seeing that I'm live? And they're like, no, nothing's wrong. So I stopped doing lives and I started doing more. So I did start doing more teacher themed scenes. So like I have my student fantasy series where I am talking one on one with a student that's telling their desires that they want to do with the teacher. So I let them put their desires out on me. So I have that. I have a like a field trip series going on where I'm at like a senior trip, and I have him and his, like, the student and his dad at the same time. I have little things like that I play. I have a new series that I'm starting is the Teachers Lounge. What goes on in the Teachers Lounge. So I have a couple girl scenes and some boy girls, and I'm looking at doing a group scene in a teacher lounge setting. So what goes on in the Teachers Lounge type thing. So I'm starting to do more and more teacher things scene wise, but when it comes to doing anything live, it's a good idea. I think I could definitely do something like that if I had enough people that would come and make it worthwhile.
yeah, I totally get that. You just sit there with like five
Hmm.
people, like, hey, here I am. Paul has a
Hmm.
question for both of us. So you first. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore for the porn industry?
Hmm. That's a good question. So it's like the best of the best
I think whatever you would
in the
want, or
porn
whatever
world.
you to you, like who they are, because everyone's list will be different.
Oh, so if it's just like me specifically, not just like all like the best people in porn, I would have to say Mickey Land would be one person I'd put on there because she's been my mentor since day one. Um, Casey Carter, the dominatrix babe, I absolutely love her. She's always been there for me. Um, I don't know. There's so many people I don't know that's really, really close. Um, that's a hard question. How many people am I gonna put on my Mount Rushmore?
You could put 4
I
or
put
5.
myself on.
Yeah, got
Huh?
to do that. You got to do that. Yes.
Yeah, gotta put myself. Mm, I don't know. Probably Isaiah Maxwell because he's like my porn crush. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't have a very big mountain.
Yeah. I mean, it's a. I don't know. Paul's asking me this question. I always answer questions. Who would I put on it? I don't fucking know. Nobody. How's that? Um, what? I'm my authentic self. Okay.
Mm.
Seriously, everyone knows that. So yeah, Paul, absolutely nobody. Okay. Now, if you want to go into my Mount Rushmore presidents, you already know who would be on there. I think we already know that. Of course we do. I think everyone that knows me knows that.
Mhm.
Jim, if you're in the chat, Jim Steele, could you please throw on here Victoria's socials? I'd really appreciate it if you would, so I'd have it in front of me because it's on my phone and I don't want to keep looking down. If Jim is still here, please. Yeah, I just don't think I don't know. Because I just don't think I ever really looked up to anyone in the business or thought anyone was that great. Yeah, Trump would be on there, yes. I got to do my own Mount Rushmore statue one day. But yeah, I never really looked up to these people because I never watched adult films before. Did you watch adult films before you got into it?
I did actually.
Really?
I back in the day, I really looked up to Jessie Jane and
Yeah.
Kirsten Price. Those two on night calls, I would have like everybody in my apartment at college gang up once a week to watch night calls with Kirsten Price and Jessie Jane. So I could definitely put them on there. um, Jenna Jameson was always really big when I was watching porn,
Yeah.
at the years that I grew up, and I finally got a chance to meet her, and she was really, really sweet. So I could see me putting like Jenna Jameson up there because that's somebody that really intrigued me in the business. Hugh Hefner, because I was a huge Playboy fan. I mean, that's definitely somebody that I mean, if it's people I really that attached me to adult industry, but not necessarily got me into it. I mean, it would be people like that.
Yeah, I didn't really like watch adult films. I watched one my whole entire life, and it's this whole mishmash. It was a scene with Haya Pachali, Randy Spears, and Peter North. Okay, so do you know who
Hmm.
Randy Spears and Peter North are? Do you know what they look like?
I know who Peter North is.
Okay, so he was dark haired.
Hmm.
So little did I know that there are fuck ups in that business. There are fuck ups in porn. At the end of the end of the film, you have all the credits roll in, and then you see under Peter North's name Randy Spears, under Randy Spears' name Peter North. So my very first scene ever, I requested to work with Peter North, thinking it was Randy Spears.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, what ill? So that didn't go over. I mean, well, not ill, but just you
Wasn't
expect
what you
some,
expected. Mm-hmm.
yeah, you expect like some tall blonde guy, not some freaking like dark hair. No, no, no. I know. It was just very embarrassing for me. That was the most embarrassing time ever. So, what was AVN like for you? Did you have fun?
Yes, I had a lot of fun at AVN. It was actually between last year and this year. Last year was way better. Simply because I did X3 literally the week before. And I have like really bad lung problems.
Oh,
And I didn't, I couldn't smell the smoke, but there was times where there was like a haze in the air in Hollywood from all the fires. So the air wasn't exactly great to breathe. I mean, it's Hollywood. It's not always great to breathe anyway. So I spent a week walking back and forth at X3 and going to the award show there. And then I took a flight to go to AVN. So midway through AVN, I have like full on bronchitis. And so I start taking like my backup medicine. So then I leave AVN I land at home, go straight to the emergency room, and they're like, "You have full blown pneumonia."
Jesus.
Yeah, so everybody's like, "Oh, did you get the avian flu?" I had the flu before I even got there. It was bronchitis and pneumonia, not the flu. Um, but other than that, aside from that, so it actually ruined like my Saturday. I didn't sign at all. I mainly only signed the first 2 days,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit of the third day, and I was just like, couldn't do this anymore. I couldn't do any of the VIP after parties. I couldn't walk back and forth to the show in my room either. Like it got really really bad with my health wise. But I still showed up when I absolutely had to. I still got to sign a lot of autographs and see a lot of people. I do hate that I wasn't able to sign that last day, but or the full of the third day there.
Mhm.
But I I literally couldn't. One day I went and just slept the entire day in my room. Got up, had food, and plus the casinos have a lot of smoke in them on top of
Yeah.
all the soot that I was breathing in Hollywood. So I got really really bad sick at AVN. But it was fun.
Well, did you go to the award show at all, or did you just do your signings?
I did. I went to the award show. I went through red carpet. Had a lot of fun. Got to the award show. As I'm waiting for the award show to start, I'm like feeling very like worn down because you go through red carpet, so you have to give it all of your energy, right? To be pretty,
Mhm.
to go through the runway, and then you turn around and you have like this little happy hour hors d'oeuvre hour before they set us all. So then you're in a room having drinks with everybody else in the industry that just got off red carpet. So you're mingling, you're talking, you're taking pictures with people in the industry, and then they sit you down. And at that point, I had no energy. So I'm like, so I fell asleep as soon as I sit down. But once the show started, I woke up and, it was a very good show. I enjoyed it. And I stayed and for most of it. Once the end came, I tried to get out of there before the crowd let out, but I was there.
Well, I mean, you could be there by, just in spirit, but I totally get it. I mean, there's not one person that I could say that I know that's never been sick when they go to avian. We always catch like a slight flu, slight cold,
Hmm.
but it's a different ball game now too with everything. I heard that last year it was not this year. Yeah, last year it was outside in some kind of FEMA looking tent. Did you go to last
Yeah.
year's?
Hmm.
Jesus, how did you feel being in an outside convention center?
Going into the tent, I don't know. It was awkward, but it was my first AVN, so I didn't have anything to compare it with. I just knew that everybody else was complaining about it, so I didn't have anything to compare it with. So I'm like, okay, we're in a tent, that's fine, whatever. But they let us dress like we would dress typically at one
Mhm.
of these things last year. But this year, going inside the show, you couldn't do anything that showed anything. Like men had to have shirts on; they couldn't go shirtless. Women would wear outfits and put.
Victoria, we lost you there mid sentence. Hello. I think she's getting to the good part of the wardrobe at a lot of these. Victoria, we lost you. Okay, it's only one X behind her name. Okay, so I could fix that right now while she gets back on. Um, okay, so we lost our guest. I don't know what happened. It could be just an internet thing. Uh, okay, she's gonna, I assume, just jump back in a second. Yeah, I mean, Jim Steele is a publicist in the business. Hold on. Sorry about this, guys. All right. Yeah. So AVN, a lot of wardrobe malfunctions and offenses at AVN this year. Obviously, yeah. I mean, some of these girls are dressed with next to nothing, like they're at the beach or something else is going on. But we never dressed like that back then. We always had really cool outfits. Like we spent money on our outfits. Thanks, Michael. So there was a standard. I don't know if any of you watched last week's live stream with Kiki Dare or the one with Dominique Simone last year. We were talking about this back in the 90s when girls went to the AVN show, we'd get dressed to the nines. Nowadays, these girls are dressed like they're going to a red carpet event in Hollywood because those Hollywood events now, it's the same thing. I mean, they're dressed half naked. Bianca Sensori and all these other people that show up to these. So I don't know what happened to Victoria. I think she just has to log back in. We'll give her a few minutes because she's very pleasant and very smart and everything like that, which we do like. Yeah, AVN's supposed to be a big event. Like people go there, and I just feel as though over the years it's been cheapened, and it's also the caliber of performers that we get coming in here. Obviously Victoria's a very smart girl. Like it's hard to, understand how she fits into all of this. She's definitely probably one of the most articulate persons in the room there. Yeah, fishnet bodysuits and full suits, which are problematic, 100%. Like you're dressed like you're going to, these girls dress like they're going to Figueroa Street in South Central, Okay, there you are. So there were a lot of problems. Yeah, because I was just saying there are a lot of girls that dress as though they're going, to walk the street in the hood, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of things were, I've had girls on here that were at AVNs back then versus now, and they said the same thing. So were you dressed in the fishnet with stuff sticking out?
I did one day. I dressed in a fishnet, and I had pasties on under it, and they got me, and to a point where like they would come around and watch me to make sure that I stayed cover up and didn't let it go. So they were like clothing police. So it was pretty bad. So last year we had it really bad in the lobby, but you can kind of understand that because the lobby is open to public. But when you turn around, they were allowed to be in the tent however we wanted to be. But this year we're not in a tent, but you had like even the guys. I know Dreadsway always walks around at every Exotica with his muscles out, no shirt on. And they're like, told him to put a shirt on. I was like, no, show those muscles. We want to see that. And they made him put a shirt on. Like they could put a shirt on that was like button up and have like it unbuttoned and like open in the front, but they had to have a shirt on.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Like that's why I agree. It's just because I've seen the conventions before, and everyone dressed nicely. Leave it up to the imagination.
Stop driving.
We had like really cute outfits then. There was this one woman that was making outfits for us. This girl, September Dawn. So we had like 2-piece, like little tops and like tight bell-bottom pants. I don't know where half my outfits are. I don't know. But that's interesting. So at least you had fun. And I'm sorry you got sick, by the way. That's not a fun time at all.
Yeah.
Were you shooting while you were there at all, or did you try to at any point? Then you decided, hey, I don't feel good. I don't want to.
Did. I shot at the beginning. I did a few shoots, but toward like after the second day, I pretty much had to cancel everything because I just couldn't get through the shoot anymore with like coughing up a lung. I got really bad by like the end of the second day. I couldn't function very easily at all. So I did do the shoot. I did a lot more shooting in Hollywood for X3 than at AVN anyway. So it kind of helped that most of my main shoots were already done. Before I was like, I can't shoot anymore. So it worked out that way.
Yeah, that sounds like it was a good time. Hollywood is always a good time for everyone. I think that's probably one of the busiest times. Or do you have any plans on any other appearances this year? Any other Exoticas? Maybe Chicago, Miami? New Jersey?
Yes, actually, I have a lot of appearances coming up. And you can see pretty much my entire tour schedule on my website on victoriapeaks.net. You can find everything, all my socials, all of my paid sites and everything on victoriapeaks.net. That's my website. But I'm going to be in Chicago, all of these Chicago. So Chicago Exotica, I'm going to be in Miami Exotica, DC Exotica, and Jersey. I'm going to be at all the Exoticas. I will be at XRCO in Hollywood at the end of May. I am going to be in Vegas at the beginning of May. I will be at XBiz Miami. I believe that one's going to. I'm working now, going to Urban X. I will be at the ASN Awards in August as well in Orlando. So I will be popping up everywhere this year.
That's good. It sounds like you have a busy schedule ahead of you. And do you have any awards that you're nominated for?
Well, I am actually going up for pre-noms for ASN Awards are ending today. Like today is the last day. So at 12 o'clock Eastern time, I believe. I don't know if it's Eastern time or not. But 12 o'clock is the last time to pre-nom for ASN. I'm going up for Best Female Porn Star, which is the one I just won last year. I'm going up for magazine cover of the year because I was on the ASN magazine cover of July of 2024. So now my cover is going up for best cover. And then best content creator performer. That's another one that I'm going up for. But yeah, if anybody wants to go and pre-nom, and I should know within a week if I'm getting nominated or not, would be go to ASN Magazine Awards .com. You can go to any of my socials, my website, and everything, and find it as well. Where to go to nominate.
So, guys, let's try to do this before, as soon as we're done with the live stream tonight. Hop on over to ASN. What is it? Magazine.
ASN Magazine Awards.com. I believe.
So ASN Magazine Awards. That's Apple Samuel Nancy MagazineAwards.com, and let's all nominate a Victoria Peaks for best magazine cover and best female porn star. And let's say, I think you should get nominated and hopefully win. I'm very familiar with the magazine because of Mickey. Mickey's a friend, and I've known her forever too. So she's another cool one that we like. So make sure to hop on over to victoriapeaks.net. You could have her all her socials there, see where she's going, and all of her fan sites are on there as well that you could totally join. So Paul just said he's following you on IG. Do you have any messages for your fans or new listeners and old listeners?
Well, first of all, I want to apologize for the in and out and why I'm in a dark car for this. There's a bunch of storms coming through and I have no power and no Wi-Fi, so I'm using my 5G and what little bit of battery I have left in my phone to be here tonight. So I do want to apologize for all of that. But to my fans, I want to say thank you so much. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. I mean, I've accomplished things in 3 years that a lot of girls don't accomplish in 5 to 10 years. So, and I wouldn't do that without my fans. I'm very, very humble, and I really enjoy that. Like, I enjoy doing these podcasts, so thank you, Jasmin, for allowing me to be on your show and being able to talk with your fans and hopefully some of my fans and hopefully made some more fans on the way. So I just want to say thank you to everybody and all the fans just for being there, and keep watching because I'm going to keep fucking.
Ooh, I like that. That's actually very, that's crafty. A lot of people don't say things like that, Victoria. So yeah.
Well, I do. I say that all the time. Just like, yeah, you keep watching. I'm going to keep fucking. So.
That's interesting. So everyone, you hear that, just keep watching and she'll keep fucking and sucking and doing all that stuff for you guys. Do not forget ASNMagazineAwards.com, and let's get some votes in there for Victoria so she can be nominated and have the chance that she deserves. Thank you for joining me this evening, and everyone sit tight. And thanks, Victoria. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Imagine how bad those storms could have been. And that was super sweet of her and very professional, which is definitely the type of formula you need in this type of business. But yeah, go on over and check her out on victoriapeaks.net and vote for her on asnmagazineawards.com. It's been fun tonight. I'm going to start getting ready. Yeah, she is very nice, Michael. Most people on here are very nice. I don't think we've ever had, there's been one crazy experience on here when John Wayne Bobbitt came on, and then his brother was in the background joining on the show, the brother's wife, and the whole thing got out of control. I had to call timeout 3 or 4 times. Everyone be careful. I was just wondering, so a lot of people are having storms. Yeah, people, please be careful out there. Yeah, I don't know who, I don't know who that was, John Jay, on JCW. I didn't see that episode, but I am going to look. I had fun this evening, guys. So don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to my Apple iTunes podcast, Crazy Train Podcast with Jasmin St. Clair. And thanks for joining, everyone. Thank you, Jim, for coming back, and the amazing clients. Jamal, have a blessed evening. Everyone have a blessed evening. And don't forget the most important thing, to stay frosty.